Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Group 9 from the 2024 district test. We're going to focus on income statement formulas. Now, let me just say that the income statement formulas, if you can memorize this and know this, you will be able to be very successful on the test, because this is always found on her test and it's very important, and it's really simple math problems that you can get a lot of answers quickly. So let's go ahead and go over the formula. So the first thing we're going to do is it's beginning inventory. And I'm going to put January 1st because it's the inventory that's at the beginning of the year, what we start the year off with, plus net purchases. Okay, and net purchases are the all the inventory that we buy throughout the year. I'll go over net purchases in a minute specifically, but I'm just going to give you the base of the formula. So beginning inventory plus net purchases gives you cost of merchandise available for sale. So this is the inventory that we are now ready to sell to our customers. Then we subtract out our ending inventory, which I'm going to put December 31st. It's the end of the year. We have a beginning and an ending. I'll explain that later. And then once we subtract all the ending inventory out from what was available for sale, we get cost of merchandise sold. So then I'm going to just move this over here. So then we take our net sales. That's the amount of money that we've made minus what we sold that gives us, or what we paid for what we sold, gives us gross profit. Okay. Understand, in merchandising business, you don't fully make a profit until you take out what you paid for the inventory to sell to the customers. So that's what that is. So gross profit minus expenses. This is like our utility bills, our utilities expense, our rent expense, our advertising expense. And then you get net income. That's if you made more than you spent, or you get net loss. That's if you spent more than you made. Okay? Now, I want to focus real quick on net. So when you see net, this means you've subtracted out the things that go away from or take away from that account. Okay, so let's go down here and I'm going to talk about how to get net purchases, because there is a calculation to find net purchases. So we're going to take purchases plus transportation in. This is how much we usually pay for the freight to get it delivered. And by the way, that is going to give us cost of merchandise delivered. Okay, so what we pay for the merchandise plus what it takes to get it there to us, that's the cost of merchandise delivered. Minus any purchase discounts. This is if we offer discounts, or this is if the vendor offers discounts to us. Remember, purchases is when we're purchasing from the vendor. So if they give us discounts, usually because we pay them early. And then minus purchase returns. This is if we return something, and so that takes away from what we owe. This gives us net purchases. Okay, so to find this, you have to also do this to get that. Okay, now let's talk about net sales. To get net sales, you just take your sales minus sales discounts. That's when we give our customers discounts if they owe us money and they pay early. And then sales returns. This is if our customer returns something that we sold to them. And that takes away from what we're going to receive in our sales. This gives us all net sales. Okay? And that is how you get this. Okay? And then the net here is after you take out the expenses, right? So when you want to do net, just think of it as something like you go and you have a fishing net and you get all the stuff and it lets out the excess stuff and it keeps whatever you really need to focus on, which is the fish. Okay? Now, I want to show you one other thing. You won't see it on group 9, but you will see it later, so I'm just going to throw it in there because it goes along with this. But a lot of times they do percentages of gross profit. So basically, what does that mean? Well, let's just know that sales is always 100%. Okay? And then minus cost of merchandise sold equals gross profit. Well, a lot of times she'll tell you gross profit is 60%. Okay, well, if gross profit is 60% of net sales, then cost of merchandise sold has to be 40%. Okay, so I need you just to remember net sales minus cost of merchandise sold is gross profit. And then these two will always equal 100% of net sales. Okay?